Hi, my name is James Hughes, and I would like to welcome you to an Introduction to View Creator presentation. ATG is a platinum level Autodesk software provider. A platinum partner is someone who has the best customer service, best technical support, and best customer retention across authorized resellers. I'd like to tell you just a little bit about myself. I'm a licensed architect in the state of Arkansas, and I have about 13 years of architectural experience. And for the past 5 years, I've been an AEC technical specialist with ATG. So, my full time job is helping other architects, as well as interior designers, landscape architects, engineers, and contractors with Autodesk software training, as well as a number of other technical services and support. View Creator is a CTC tool that you should utilize at the start of your projects. The larger the project, the time savings is multiplied more. I included this picture that I took from a cruise last year. And given current conditions, I think that it may actually be a while before I take another cruise to Cozumel. But just architecturally, the rustic colonnade to the beach, it's kind of mesmerizing to walk into because of how it framed the different views. And we're talking about View Creator here. So each view has a unique perspective of the ocean. I hope that you enjoy this brief presentation of some powerful workflows to create Revit views quickly. All right, generating views during project setup can be a pain, but it's necessary on nearly every project. Now, this is especially true when dependent floor plans are necessary to manage larger projects. Other view management tasks like level or phase specific schedule creation, those are also tedious and happen throughout the project lifecycle. A lot of early project setup is geared towards creating correct and necessary views in a project, especially floor plans. The more views that we must create, the longer that process takes. This webinar will demonstrate how View Creator can help minimize the tedium and standardize the creation and management of many view types. So let's talk about what our agenda is for this webinar. We're going to show you how to get access to the View Creator within Revit, what it looks like on the interface side, and we'll generate a lot of floor plan views and other views in Masse. We'll also take a look at a feature of the View Creator that allows you to quickly, easily, and visually see which view templates you have available and which views do not have a view template currently assigned. After this presentation is over, you will have a link to the video recording emailed to you at the address that you registered with. Throughout this presentation, if you have any questions, just type them in the chat interface, and I will circle back at the end and see if I can answer them for you during the presentation. The rest of this presentation will be live from within the Revit environment. So give me just a second to transition over. All right, you guys let me know in the chat if you have any problems seeing my Revit screen here. But I've got a project started in Revit 2020, and if we were creating, and it's just started, I mean, there's just a DWG in here and a handful of walls, but most of this work is just modeling on top of a starting DWG space within here. Now's a perfect time to fire up View Creator and use some of the functionality. If I want to access it, and I've installed the CTC tools for the BIM project suite, which you can see right here, these green set of tools. I can actually pull them off here for clarity. This is a suite of about 19 tools that you can access. And View Creator is just one of those 19 tools. And inside of View Creators, you're going to see there's about 8 things that we can do from within it. I'll place this back up and we'll launch View Creator. Naturally, it pops up on another screen. Let me drag it over here. Okay. So this is going to be common throughout all of the CTC tools where the tops of the toolbar are fairly consistent. And in fact, the first 10 minutes that you spend with any of the tools, whether you're trying a 14-day trial or you're ready to start using it, you should click on this video link, and it will link you to the YouTube page that has, for View Creator, I think it has about 5 videos. Some of them are as short as a minute and a half. That's sort of an introduction to it, where there's really not even any talking. It's just kind of, telling you what you can do. And then there's more of like a 26-minute in-depth tutorial there as well. So videos is going to be a very good link for you. If the tool is not working as it should and you need to start a support ticket, you would click on the support link. If you click the drop down menu here, you do get access to two other features that aren't, I'm sorry, three other features that aren't on that list. You can request a feature. So if View Creator, in the 9 or so things that it does, you would like to add a 10th suggestion, you could click on this request feature and the team would take a look at that and consider it for future product development timeline. If there is a bug in the software and it's not reported or it's not working correctly, you can report that here. And then also you have access to see what your current suite licensing information is. So if you can see which version of the software you're running, et cetera, actually about is going to tell you the versioning of it. So that's just the main interface. These tabs break out the different kind of workflows that View Creator can help you with. And so my plan is to just go from left to right and just kind of demonstrate what we can do from within this one tool inside of the BIM project suite. This first one is probably maybe arguably the least useful of them, but you can create new levels within your Revit project here. You could choose add level, you could name it, and you could change the elevation. Most architects are going to be the ones that create the levels. Normally, if you're a consultant, you're going to sort of adopt the levels that the architect did. Most architects tend to be visual. I know whenever I create levels, I like to look at an elevation and create them from there. So I'm actually not going to use View Creator for this first tab. I'm actually just going to close View Creator, and we're going to open up a elevation view of this. First, let's take a glance at it in 3D. No, I don't want to save. No, I don't want to auto save. All right, so we've got the start of the modern hotel. This is a standard project that we use in Revit training. So you guys have probably actually got some exposure to this, but so far we just got some outer envelope and a few interior elements created. If I take a look, there are not many levels that are created. So I'm going to go to an elevation view. Let's do the north elevation. And most architects are going to either copy this level up or they're going to navigate to the architecture ribbon and choose level and draw each of them in manually. We're going to do something similar to that. We'll just select this guy, CO for copy. We'll copy this first one up, let's say 18 feet. I'm going to do this a few times, so I'm going to actually copy the end of that. Then we'll CO again. This time we'll just go up 12 feet. And let me do this again, but I'll check multiple. And we'll put some more floors in. Yeah, we'll stop about there. So real quick, I'm going to rename these. Sorry, it just doesn't look right to my eye. It's right though. Let's just not go up 8 floors then. We'll keep it simple. We don't have to worry about the naming of that. All right, so we've created levels in here. There do not exist anything on second, third. I mean, we literally just created those. So now if I go back to View Creator, all right, so now these are listed out here, populated. I could have plugged it in here manually, like I said, and I could have just added on to the previous level. But let's go one tab over to the plan/ceiling. This is going to be probably the second most powerful tab here inside of View Creator for us. Well, that's debatable too. But the problem is whenever you start up a project, we're going to need to create floor plans and reflected ceiling plans and all different kinds of plans. In fact, I mean, you've got furniture plans. I mean, just take a look over here in my view templates here in the center column. We're going to have code plan, demo plan, well, some demo plans. dimension plans, enlarged, existing, export CAD. You can read these. And the problem is we'd have to keep duplicating each of these floors where we have that condition. And then, well, it's going to take some time to do something like that. One of the things that I like to do over here in this listing of levels is to actually fix the abbreviation and sort by it. And so for our first level, we're going to leave that at 01. We're going to change these. We're going to make the abbreviation for the second level to be 02. I'll just run down the list real quickly here. That's what I get for glancing away. All right. So what I can do, if I want to generate several different plans, actually a plan for each one of these designated view templates that I've already created, then I can do that in this three-part setup here. Now, if you're not using view templates and you're working on large projects, you really should. I mean, you absolutely need to look at that. It's probably somewhere around a third of architects still have not gotten into view templates. So if I say that and you've only heard of it, but you're not using it, you need to start creating them. They're actually fairly simple to do. But here we've already got several created that came with our template. And so I'm going to select our floors that we're going to be generating multiple variants of the floor plan with. And we'll just start, we'll leave the roof out for now. Actually, we need basement as well. We're definitely in this project, we're going to need a regular floor plan. We will need code plans. Demo, well, we could do partial demo and not check that one. We will need dimension plans. We're going to come back and create enlarged plans differently. This is a renovation, so we'll say that we have existing plans as well. We are going to be exporting to CAD for one of our consultants, so we would need to create that as well. Finish. FF&E is actually going to be a different phase, so we're going to leave the furniture plan off of this one. Let's see. We'll do presentation, and we like to have working plans where people can actually make changes and they can actually turn off the view template on those plans. But here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 9 levels that this is going to be created on. So this is going to generate several view templates, and here we're going to multiply that by something else as well. What all phases are we going to create these plans associated with? We do want to have existing phases. We do want to have new construction as well. And we are going to have FFE. Now, when we do new construction, it's just a given that it's going to be new construction unless noted otherwise. So we don't want this to use the naming convention of 01 floor plan new construction. We're just going to assume it's new construction. So in that case, we're actually going to check no abbreviation for the ones that would be, a given in this scenario. You can change this if you don't want it to say 01, which is the level, then the template name, and then the phase. You could make that change. If you want to be careful with the abbreviation of your view templates, you can create abbreviations here. And so this way it will use the abbreviations for each of these. Okay, when you're new to View Creator, one thing that you will forget is that there is a preview mode. You actually need to hit add first, and then it will show you all of the views and the naming that it wants to use for those views before it actually does the work. So we can hit add and just kind of check and make sure that this follows our company standards and make adjustments if necessary here. So these are all basement plans with the 00. And then we go through each of the 8 floors. Now you can see if all you were doing today was creating your different views for the floors, it's probably not all day to get this done manually, but it's going to take a while. It's not going to take seconds, which is what it would take if I weren't explaining what everything does here. It would take almost no time with this tool. So we can go ahead and create these views, or we can clear some of these check marks that we have and make some additional changes and then add in more plans to that. So that's another function of this add, is we can actually clear out. So if we've already added FFE phasing to all of these, but if we wanted to add demo to just a few of the floors, and we won't need FFE during the demo. We're just going to do existing and new construction. And we can clear some of these guys out. Add demo. And choose the appropriate floors where demolition's happening. I'm just making this up here, if you couldn't tell. I should only demo on the first floor and the basement. The rest is just going to be, I don't know, later tenant finish out, I guess. But you can choose, and now it's just going to work off of these check boxes. So we've got 2 here, 1 there, 2 there. It'll multiply those together and add that whenever I click add. And so we've got a few more existing demo plans that have been created here. I'm sorry, they're prepped to be created. So when we have made sure that our list is following company standards and then we have all of the views that we need, we click create views. We're going to give View Creator a minute here because it's saving us part of our lifetime and giving it back to us, so we don't begrudge it for taking a few seconds to generate OMG 220 plan views for this large scale project. So we can choose close, and we can see already in the project browser that these have populated out. And so if we want to work on code plans here, we just expand this, choose the floor, and off we go to the races. We're not manually duplicating that or working a very slow workflow. That's just one feature of View Creator. It's a very powerful one, albeit. And we're just on the second tab here. So this is a large enough building, or at least we're going to pretend like it's large enough that we're having trouble fitting it onto a sheet. A lot of you guys work on large projects where you need to split the project up by match lines. And that also is a actually more tedious project. Hopefully you guys are duplicating those as dependent views so that if you've got annotations that occur over the match line, it will maintain all of your annotations to be the same between each of those different views. So you don't get, one dimension on one side of it, and then it reads differently on the other plan, which is what it would do if you did a one-time snapshot of it, or if you just didn't duplicate with anything. If you just duplicated the view itself, it may not have that dimension. So what we're going to do is take a look at, let's skip 2 tabs here, and we can work on dependent views. Now, this is letting me know the only way this is going to work is if we use scope boxes. Now, sadly, it's probably a little bit less than half of architects are using scope boxes on their projects. So I'm also going to introduce that to you. We'll create them. They're super easy to make. If you're in the 50th percentile that has not used them yet, don't worry. We'll have it over here in just a moment. So I'm going to go to a first floor view here. And here is the general size of our project. We're going to create an area that's on the left side, and we'll basically split it somewhere around column line F. And so then we'll have a building on the right, and we'll just call that area A and B. And actually, to demonstrate something else, I'm going to draw something out on an angle down here. We'll just use one of these existing walls, create similar. We're going to make sure that we introduce an angle to this, and then I'll stay orthogonal to that angle that I introduce. And we'll show how a scope box can actually help with your project north in this scenario. So we'll actually make 3 areas. We'll do the left side to column line F, right of column line F, and then we'll have a third piece here, the entry piece. So we'll call entry A, then we'll call this B, and that's C. To create your scope box, you just go to the view ribbon. Scope box is somewhere here around the middle. And you just draw a rectangle. So you start in one corner and go to the other and make a double click. You can rotate a scope box by RO, drag it to a corner piece, go from straight up to exactly whatever that is. Okay, it's 26 degrees. I didn't even know what I drew it to. And now our scope box is on the same exact angle that the building is on. We'll just stretch this in a bit so that we're about 4 feet past each of the building components that need to show up in that scope box. We can take a moment with this and rename it Area A, not JA. There we go. And if we create another scope box, we'll start about here, go just past F. rename it area B. And we can actually just take this one and CO copy it. You don't have to draw each one uniquely. And enlarge the bottom of it. Let's take a look at it in 3D just to pay attention to the heights. Yeah, see, that's not tall enough. Now, what does a scope box do? A scope box helps to align views on multiple floors so that they occur precisely within the same boundaries. It lets you also place them where you're not, each floor doesn't have its own crop boundary that's different. We can actually assign your crop regions to exactly match the scope box. That's one thing that it will do for you here. So we've created our scope boxes. We're ready to go back to View Creator now that these are created and double checked here. Now, if you were to do this manually, what we would be looking at doing, setting up a master and dependent views for each of these three areas, is you would have to come into each of the floors, the regular floor plan, you would duplicate it, create one, probably rename it master plan, and then you would duplicate 3 off of it as dependent views, and make sure that you then manually assign them to the scope box areas, and then name them also. It actually would be quite a bit of time, especially on 9 different levels to do this. Here it's going to be a good bit faster. Let me not overpromise. Let's just handle this as it comes. So we're going to first select the ones that we're going to use as the master. They're just going to be called regular floor plan. And so I'm going to hold down Control in any of these. And I probably should have named them master, but floor plan is fine. So we'll also do, that's FFE, James. Pay attention. So we don't want the FFE phase. It would help if I actually set the correct phase. There we go, new construction. It's like they're all FFE. All right, so we'll start at 0, 0 floor plan. Hold down Control. Let me find a 1 floor plan. There, for some reason it didn't work the first time. 03 floor plan. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so I have those selected. You can see them in blue. Up here under check, I can check the selected, and it recognizes all 3 of the scope box areas, and it is now checked. So it will create dependent views for each of those and automatically associated with those scope boxes that have been created. So we'll choose Create Dependent Views. And it has created 27 of them. And yes, I fumbled through that, but nonetheless, it's less than 1 minute. And so let's go find these. I'll find 1 or 2 just to kind of point this out to you. So basically, we have a 01 floor plan that acts as a master plan. And then inside of that, if we open up area A, notice that it's also rotated it so that project north, so that your up is orthogonal to the drawings here, or to the walls here. Well, technically to the scope box. And then area B is the left side of the building, exactly tied to that scope region. Now I might have some issue with the view template that I used. I probably want to hide the crop boundary and the scope boxes so that I'm not seeing those inside of here. But you can see that all 20, I forget the count, 27 of those dependent views was created, named correctly according to our naming conventions, and generated according to those scope boxes. So let me jump back to View Creator. I'll move a little bit faster through some of the other features. That one's probably one of the biggest ones as far as time savings. There is the automatic generation of dependent views. Now we have a few elevation views on the outside of the building. I picked the wrong view to be able to show that. Let me go back to a main. Right, so we've got some elevation views around the outside of the building. We also have multiple phasing. We have 3 phases: existing, new construction, and then a later FFE. Now, we do need to have elevation markers at each of those phases except for FFE. We don't need any exterior work for that, but we do need existing and new construction building elevations created. And you can even use the tool to very quickly do that. So I'll launch View Creator, go to the Elevation Views tab, and we need these for existing. Now we've already got them for new construction, so really all I've got to do is check to create these. I don't need them for FFE, and I create elevation views. It's created those four. Sorry, I keep closing it here so I can navigate in the project browser. E is before F, James. Here we go. So here are our new construction ones. If I expand existing, then we've got our four existing. Now it just created those elevation markers exactly on top of themselves, but because they're in different phases, you actually only get one elevation marker here, if that makes sense. So it kind of keeps them apart so you don't end up with a stack of annotations there. They're separated by phases. So back under View Creator, we'll go to the next tab. Let's look at schedules. I've only got one schedule that I created here, but if we need a room schedule for all of the floors here, then we can check per level and let's say also per phase, and we'll create those schedules. And it's created 12. Let's have a look underneath the schedules. Excellent. So we've got different phases that we can show the entire room schedule, and we've got different phases that are associated with one level itself. Now this has not gone in and applied a filter to the basement. In fact, you can see it's on the first floor. So you actually do need to go into the filter and you will need to change this per each one. It's not going to do everything for you. There's no rooms in the basement, so that's anticlimactic. But you still need a little bit of work there, but it has generated them for you, which saves a lot of time, particularly with associating it with different phases. That's one of those things you do infrequently enough that it makes people scratch their heads and wonder where they need to go next. All right, next tab over in View Creator. Sheets and title blocks. This will list out as a column every title block that you have loaded into your project. And this will list out every sheet as a row that's been created. And you can check the appropriate title block that you want it to have. So for your ASIs, if you need that to not be a full-size sheet, if we want that to be an 11 by 17, we can simply check that box, choose to process it, and it's changed one of them. That's not a big change. But again, if you've got a dozen of these or you've got a lot of change orders going out or ASIs, let me look under sheets here. Yeah, so it's swapped that out to an 11 by 17. Even if there were views on there, it's not going to erase the sheet to make that change for you. View Creator. We'll go next tab over. Work sets. This one's really cool for your BIM managers. Oftentimes you want to look and see what I guess only the items that are on a work set. And so if I wanted to parse these out and create unique 3D views that broke out each of the different work sets that we're working on, then I can check these boxes here. Actually, the main ones I'm interested in are the exterior and the interior, because I know that I did work on those. So actually uncheck these, and we'll just create an exterior and an interior 3D view. That actually would take quite a little bit of time to generate this manually. But if we go to our 3D view, I've created so many views here. So I've got this sorted by phasing. Let me look and see. It should be under new construction, I would think. Let's see if I've got a question mark one. Jump right back into it and see if there was a checkbox that I missed there. didn't add a prefix or a suffix on those. Yeah, this is just to filter it out. If I create it, yeah, it's failed because they're already there. I'm having trouble finding them, to be honest. I expect interior or exterior envelope to be in the name. I don't have that many 3D views created for new construction. There appear to be none created for existing. I'm sure one of you guys sees it. If you actually see them, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, here in just a moment, I guess oh, here we go. I was going to say I was ready to move on. So if I open up the exterior envelope view that's been created, all of the interior elements have been turned off because those work sets have been hidden for this. Same thing, I can just show interior only and get the exterior skin out of the way. If you're working MEP, this is phenomenal. I mean, it's going to make it to where if only your mechanical is on a work set, you can look at those systems in 3D without anything else in that view, or you can start from that view and add back in any kind of links in half scale or half tone that you want to be able to see. Very quick way to generate 3D views off of your work sets. Maybe not so much faster than actually finding them if you've got a new sort order for a presentation. All right, so that's work sets. Duplicate views. You can duplicate any kind of view that you want to jump into. If you want to look at, oh, I actually could have done this with 3Ds and generated several iterations of those. If I wanted to just show a few different exterior envelopes and maybe I have some different design options. If I've got 3 different design options I want to show, I can number this up by clicking that arrow or actually just typing in here and making 3 copies of that. Put a suffix or option in there, create those duplicate views. It's created 3 of them real quickly. And then I could go into visibility graphics and change those design options where it will show only the exterior envelope work set that I very quickly was able to duplicate 3 times. You could do this with plans as well. But obviously the other 2 tools for plan/ceiling, which also does RCPs, by the way, I won't bore you with doing the same thing, but it will also create reflected ceiling plans there as well. And then your dependent views, I would use those 2 tabs instead of just using your standard duplicate views. Last one, and this is our last point in the learning piece here, is that we've got a way now to graphically view what all view templates we have in the project, and we see those on the right-hand side, and expanded underneath this are all of the views that are currently assigned to use that view template if you expand this out. If you look on the left-hand side, these are all views that do not have a view template assigned to them. Now, most of the views that I created actually do have a view template assigned because I've been very diligently doing that in View Creator, but there are a few over here. I've got interior 3D views. And if I look underneath, let's just look at architectural only. If I look at my 3Ds and I've got presentation 3D here, what I'm able to do is actually just grab any of these and drag them over to the category that they need to be assigned to. There we go. I don't know why it didn't work the first time. And now they don't show up under here because they do have assigned view templates, and that has corrected how those 3-dimensional views will look to apply that sketchiness or whatever settings were applied to that view template for the architectural presentation 3D. So we've basically got nothing left over here except for a default 3D view that doesn't have a view template assigned to it. I might take some of the working views and unassign them. We could do that. But view templates is a very easy way, even if all it did was give you this list of what all views do not have a view template assigned to them. That's a huge bonus for a BIM manager to have that at a glance, even if they're not going to drag and drop to assign that. And then they also can see what all view templates exist within the project, see if there are any that are missing, or see if there are misassignments for which floor plan view templates are maybe assigned. Okay, well, we've made it through all of the, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things that the view creator can very specifically help you to do. Although that's not true, maybe a 10th thing, it can do RCPs as well. You also, underneath the options, I recommend that you modify this. So if you don't want space dash space, you can change this. You know, if you guys use a pipe or if you use semicolon or whatever you're using, you can change this in and choose whether or not it has space separation here to match your company standards. That's just right here under options. I don't see any questions in the chat. If you're thinking of some, start typing them up because we're about to enter into that time of the presentation here. All right, so just wrapping up the presentation and the demonstration, we have accessed the view creator. I showed you where that is inside of Revit under the CTC panel bar. I gave you an introduction to the interface. I generated a whole lot of views in Masse. I mean, truthfully, we probably, and I lost count, we're somewhere north of 300 views that I generated. And if I weren't talking, it would take me less than 10 minutes to do that. And so if you were my PM and I was your BIM manager, I could have this project ready for you like a hero and let your team of about 4 or 5 people get going within minutes instead of waiting another day, for me to get my views and my view templates all, lined out correctly. We've also associated the view templates visually. We did that at the very end. So our main takeaway from this is that we were able to use View Creator to minimize the tedium and the management of many view types. We were able to stick to those company standards. And hopefully I didn't make this too tedious for you guys, even though I had kind of 2 snags along the way finding things. All right, so this concludes the webinar, An Introduction to View Creator. As you can see, View Creator is an extremely powerful time-saving tool for setting up projects. If anyone is interested in learning more about View Creator, along with the other tools, those other 18 tools included in the CTC BIM project suite, I would welcome the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with you. You can contact me or any of our sales consultants to discuss next steps. At this time, I'm going to take a look into the chat and see if you guys have any questions. All right, so first question in. If we do not have plans split up in areas, but we want to have the floor plan restricted to a scope, is there any way to assign scope without the dependent view tool? Yes, you can generate the views themselves using that first tab. Let me tab back over here. And I'll launch View Creator again. I'm not going to run all the way through this, but I'll point you to it. So I would use the plan ceiling here, and I would create them like we did that first time for each of our floors. And then I would just do a regular floor plan and whichever phase or phases you wanted. And that will generate just generic floor plans of the entire thing. And then you're able to select, I'll pick a different one here. You're able to select any of these floor plans later if you decide that you do want to associate them with a scope box. Here it is, about halfway down. And you can choose an existing scope box manually, or you can manually grab the edges of them and crop them in as you see fit. So I hope that answers. I'm going to reread just to make sure that I answered it. Say mechanical equipment that needs to be cropped. Yes. You're also going to need to develop your view templates in such a way that they turn off elements of your consultant's models that you don't want to see at all, and the ones that you do want to see as halftone. In that case, you are going to need to set that in the visibility graphics for your particular project. This one doesn't have any linked models, but there would be for linked Revit files on the end here. I could click on that and then make changes to how those consultant models would show up if I didn't want. It's not really a view creator question, but it's a general Revit question. All right, next one. How can this tool place the views on sheets and align them all the same? This tool doesn't do that, but there is a different tool underneath BIM Project Suite. I'm looking for it right now. It's called Room Data Sheets. And Room Data Sheets will actually allow you to define each room that you want to see, let's say a hospital project, and you can actually select the typical rooms or each and every room that's a patient room, and it will actually generate elevation views, 3D views, all of that, and place it on a sheet for you. So there's a different tool that's kind of in the neighborhood of what you're asking for, but no, we still have this works just on the views. I have been told to stay tuned though. So what you're asking about is possibly on the project path for a future CTC tool or for this same tool. Not promising, just saying it doesn't do it yet, but stay tuned. This thing will save so much time. Obviously, if it's a large project, I don't even have to convince you that this just saved me from more than 4 hours worth of work here. This was just done in minutes. All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I want to thank you guys for your time. And after we conclude, as I said, you guys will receive a link to be able to revisit the content if you need to consider View Creator or the BIM Project Suite. And there's a lot of time to be saved here on the realm of view creation here. I'm James Hughes. I hope this was valuable to you guys, and goodbye to you.